Okay, so the next thing that you really need to think about is why would anyone use a hyperdoc? And I've got really 5 reasons for you. So number one, hyperdocs are student-centered. They really allow your students some choice. They allow your students to work through at their own pace. And they also allow you lots of time to walk around and help your students, which is actually going to be one of my last reasons. They also are about pedagogy. So one of the reasons why you should use a hyperdoc is to really help you to develop your pedagogy, to develop your approach to educating your students and making sure that it's evidence-based. You don't want to be constantly using the same worksheets or the same activities if they're not actually engaging your students, if they're not evidence-based in terms of how to structure your learning and how to connect old information with new information and how to really help your students learn, whereas a hyperdoc will really help you to do that. They're very inquiry based, so they enable your students to go and find out all the stuff that they can find. It allows them to do their own research, it allows them to go to take on the responsibility themselves as well. So one of the things within an inquiry approach is that the students become a lot more responsible for their learning and finding the information. And obviously you guide and structure that according to wherever your students are at in terms of their age and development. Hyperdocs are also really nicely packaged. So one of the key things about a hyperdoc is that they are aesthetically pleasing, that they are something that the students really like to look at, that when you sit down and go, oh, this is really well made, this is really lovely to use, not just something that's a lot of black text with a few blue hyperlinks in it. That's not at all a hyperdoc. And lastly, what it does is it really frees you up as the teacher to go and help your students. You get to move around your classroom and spend your time with the students who need it, while the other ones who don't need your help continue to move on and continue to progress. It doesn't mean you're going to ignore those people, but it just allows you a lot of freedom to move around. And that's why hyperdocs are particularly useful for the blended model of classroom, where you're going to possibly have videos and stuff where the students might watch some content in class. It's also referred to as an in-flip, if that's the case, or they might be watching it at home. But then in class, you're there to help them to understand stuff. You're there to walk around and engage them in their projects that they're doing or anything like that. And hyperdocs are so flexible and so malleable that they actually become really useful in so many different ways.